Any question you ask about right now about dreams and their power will trigger something. Hopefully you'll wake up with stunning dream recall tomorrow morning or the day after. Do not do this thing, which I've done so many times, because you wake up in the night and think, oh, that was a brilliant story. I'll remember it in the morning, because you just can't be bothered. You will not remember. And it's nothing worse. It's like having something on the tip of your tongue when you can't just get it back.
Hello and welcome to the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival podcast. I am your host, Rach Cox, and I am thrilled to be interviewing some of the world's best known experts in spirituality and well-being. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. So I am here with the wonderful Theresa, who is currently having a little giggle fit, and I love her for it. And she's been described by Women's Health as the British Grande Dame of Psychic and Spiritual Studies. Well, that is quite the title, babes. You were born into a family of psychics and spirituals, and you went to King's College, Cambridge, and left with a degree in theology and English. How terribly clever of you. You've published several best-selling titles about the power of dreams to heal and change your life. And you're a regular, I love this bit, spiritual expert on This Morning. Didn't even know that they would entertain such things. And also BBC Radio 2 with Claudia Winkleman, BBC 5 Live with Nicky Campbell. And you are now known as the Queen of Dreams. Brilliant.
I love it. Oh, it's funny. That's why I was laughing. I mean, it sounds. I can't believe it when you say all that. But I have kind of done all these things, and I can talk through them all, and the journey to where I am today, which is, I feel absolutely blessed to be here with you today, Rash. Thank you to talk about the power of dreams, and really, I'm on a mission to mainstream dream decoding.
Fantastic. We need it. They need it. So I'm glad. I'm very glad that you're on board with our needs.
Thank you. The British Grande Dame thing, that was Women's Health, I think they called me that.
Grande Dame, not Grande Dame. Sorry, mate.
Grande Dame. It was a lovely, lovely thing. And I kind of thought, first of all, I thought, you know how we never really want to think of ourselves as dames. But now I'm totally...
Dame Edna, clearly in their power.
Exactly. But now I'm totally embracing it because, yes, I feel I have devoted my life to this. It's that imposter syndrome thing, isn't thinking, oh, goodness, that's such an accolade. But no, I have devoted my life to this, to researching this, writing about it, mainstreaming it. And people in this field, there's probably a Theresa Cheung book lurking somewhere, because you said several books. I've literally lost count of the number of books I've put out there over the years, consistently. 2 or 3 books coming out each year. This year is no exception.
Wow.
So I feel very blessed to have that opportunity to do that.
Well, there's obviously a lot of hard graft that goes into that, and it's paying penance,
Thank you.
Paying off. So,
I started, my first books were published in the late 1990s, and I've been going strong ever since. And it is an absolute privilege to do this. And I thank my spiritualist upbringing, but also, because I was home educated, the opportunity to get some academic rigor, meet the skeptics, be challenged at Cambridge.
And just casually go to Cambridge.
Well, I mean, it was amazing because I was home educated, and but I had a passion at the time. I actually wanted to be the Vicar of Dibley, I wanted to be the first female vicar. I was very much in love with the Christian faith. But when I went to Cambridge, as happens to many people, I studied theology, religion. You realize that every religion is a path to heaven. And it was almost like I became what most people are today, the majority of people spiritual but not religious.
Right, exactly.
So, but at Cambridge, I soon learned that talking about the power of dream decoding, astrology, crystals, energies, vibes, all these things, I thought, because I grew up in a family where talk of that was commonplace, that everybody was like that. Everybody, when they had a dream, would talk about it to their parents or carers, or everybody knew their sun sign, for goodness sake.
Yeah, exactly. Same in my family.
And I went to King's College, Cambridge, of course, surrounded by Etonians. My goodness, that was a baptism by fire. I was one of the few girls at the time in the 80s when I went. That was a harrowing experience coming from a very poor family, traveling family to be thrust into that. I was so ill prepared, and I often mentally time travel back to that girl, thinking, "Oh my goodness, she was so naive."
And so brave.
Well, I didn't know. I don't know, brave or stupid. I don't know.
No, no, Theresa, we will not have self-talk like that on this podcast, thank you.
You're
You were
right.
very brave.
Yeah, I mean, you just go where you're called. I felt very, very called to study religion. It's always been part of my DNA. So, yeah, and I look back and I think, I have devoted my life to this field,
Mm,
my body and
to
soul.
to to decoding dreams. I mean, that is so fascinating. I remember when I was 5 having a dream that my neighbour was pregnant, and I went and told my mum, and my mum had told the neighbour, and she went, "No, I've actually just found out I'm pregnant." And so I've been fascinated by it since I was little, and so I'm really excited to talk to you about all of this.
Oh, so am I. I mean, I am moving further and further towards the theory, which is quite becoming more mainstream in dream research than you think, of precognitive dreams, that dreams having a precognitive element. And that's certainly what your dream was there that you just described. And
Mm.
it's much more common than people realize. It's just people are kind of frightened of it. We're
Yeah.
frightened of our own inner power, our own inner psychic. And I want to stop that fear. There's nothing
Mm.
frightened about. And, I try to encourage people to fall in love with their dreams, because if they fall in love with their dreams, they're falling in love with their own inner world.
Amazing, amazing. And I'd like to just draw a comparison between the dreams that you have for your life and aspirations, and the dreams that you have when you're asleep. What's the correlation there?
Exactly the same, in my opinion. It's just the dreams you have when you're asleep, they're commenting on them in the language of dreams, which is the language of symbols, metaphors,
Mm.
allegories, figurative language, pathetic fallacy. Your dreaming mind, I think, is a frustrated artist. I think all of us deep down are frustrated artists and poets. But
Yeah.
in the dreaming state, we get to be the wild, creative artists that we all are at heart. And your dreaming mind comments on the dreams and mindsets that you have when you're awake in a symbolic language. And it does that because the beauty of art and poetry is it offers a new perspective on something that you might not have in your waking life. And
Mm.
so therefore your dreams and your waking life, you're the same person. You're just in a different state of consciousness. And
Mm.
what you have to do in the dream world is learn the language of your dream speak. Because if you went to another country, you'd learn the language. If you really wanted to understand the culture, you need to do that same. When we fall asleep and dream, we need to learn to speak the language of symbols again and metaphors. And we used to have that ability to speak that fluently in centuries past. That the
Yeah.
moon was a metaphor for mystery and intuition, etc., and everything. The sun for passion, for joy, for life. But we've lost that ability to look beneath the surface. Everything's literal on the surface. But dream work encourages you to take nothing literally, to always dig deeper and deeper and deeper for meaning, because that's where the
Mm.
wisdom, the precious wisdom, can be found.
So signs, symbolism, and
Yeah.
metaphors. Yeah,
That's
beautiful.
how dreams speak to you in. And that's why a lot of people give up on their dream work, because they think, well, why doesn't my dreaming mind just tell me it straight? It can't, because it speaks the language of the unconscious, the language of intuition, the language of the visionary, which is a different
Mm.
language, the literal and the logical and the rational that we speak in
Yeah.
life.
That's amazing. I speak about this regularly. I have psychotherapy, and we talk about my dreams a lot. So not only is it sort of for me a spiritual experience, but it's also a very psychological and practical experience. It spans a lot of things, but I guess what you're saying as well, we're very rooted in logic and what's in front of us, and
Yeah.
usually, but it's helpful for me anyway to have other people to help unpick and understand, which is where your work comes in for other
Yes.
people.
Because when
So
you're
important.
awake, you see, your the conscious mind dominates and the ego dominates, which the ego, well, it has to be, because we live in a practical world. We're here on this earth for a reason, which is to learn and grow and be practical. That's important. I think you've got to get a balance in life. The practical, the material matters. There's too much
Mhm.
emphasis in mind, body, and soul about obliterating that and just going to the energy and vibes, and you completely go away with the fairies. Forgive the pun. But the thing is with the conscious world, where logic and reason reigns, it won't allow you to make those intuitive creative leaps that you can in the dream state, where the only thing missing, because everything's possible in the dream except reason and logic. That's the only
Mm.
thing missing. You can literally do or be anything in a dream, but you're not going to find much logic or any logic or reason there. But the absence of logic and reason allows you to make these leaps of faith, these connections between wildly unconnected things that you simply couldn't do in the waking state. And that's why they're so valuable. And you only need to look at some of the greatest minds in history, Einstein, for example, theory of relativity, those connections he needed to take that leap of faith to the next stage in his theory development had to sort of come in the dream state, because in the
Yeah.
waking state, our old friend logic and reason will say, crazy, no, shut it down,
Mm.
won't let you go there. But when you fall asleep, your body falls asleep, and so does logic and reason. And,
Mm.
and again, that's why some of the world's greatest works of art, literature, poetry, music, innovation, invention, entrepreneurship often have come from a fragment of a dream,
Mm.
because it allows you to go places you can't go when you're
Yeah,
awake.
without limitation. Yeah.
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 But I want people to balance both sides of their lives. As I say, we need both, like we have night and day. We need the waking, the material, the logical, and the rational, because that allows us to put our big dreams into progress. Because if we're all like intuitive and dreamy and away with the heights, we're not going to actually make it happen.
Mm.
So I think the definition, as the older I get, the definition of inner peace is balancing those two aspects of me so that neither one dominates.
Beautiful. Yeah. Harmony.
Harmony,
Um,
yes.
so
But not too
how
much because that's dull.
so you don't like harmony?
Well, not too much, because you've got to realize that your greatest growth sometimes happens outside your comfort zone.
I think
Often
I've been outside my comfort zone most of my
you're
life.
growing. That means that you're growing. And what I try to do now when everything's going wrong, and trust me, a lot goes wrong in my life to this day, where I don't get what I want or things don't happen, and it hasn't worked out. What I do now, instead of getting into a funk like I used to, I think I'm growing.
Mm.
Sometimes growth hurts. I'm outside my
Yeah.
comfort zone. Time to grow some more. And
That's a
I
little bit of
find,
maturity I haven't quite tapped into yet, Theresa. So
well,
thank
maybe
you for
you don't
imparting that
fail upwards
wisdom.
as much as I do.
Oh, God, you're giving me all sorts of life goals now. Um, Be
Fail
more
upwards.
like
But I
Theresa.
do actually. I realize I do a podcast myself, and I was telling my listeners to go out there and fail again.
Oh,
Because it's basically that the failure is where the lessons and the growth happens. We don't learn
mm,
from our success, unfortunately. It's nice and you should enjoy it, but
yeah.
we don't tend to learn. And I do think that one of the reasons, well, I think the reason we're here is to learn and grow and
Mm,
evolve, and that happens outside the comfort zone.
yeah. It does. It does, for sure. I joke about it, but I know it does
But
mean
dreams
that.
take you outside your comfort zone every night. That's why
Mm.
99% of our dreams are anxiety themed.
I was going to say, are those ones called nightmares?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Um, so how can decoding your dreams have a positive impact on your life?
Well, basically, it shows you that your inner therapist, your inner world, your intuition has got your back. It shows that your intuition is noticing things in your daily life which are important for your personal growth, but for some reason in your waking life, you're not getting the memo. And
Mm,
it shows how your inner intuition cares about you. It's offering you this commentary on your waking life, because your dreams comment on what's going on in your waking life, and it's offering you signposts and trying to encourage you to let go of mindsets that are not serving you. Because you mentioned nightmares just now, they're a classic example. A nightmare is a dramatization of your own inner world and the likely consequences if you carry on thinking and feeling in that way,
wow,
right?
yeah.
That's why they can be potentially precognitive, but it's a potential future. I truly believe that your dreams, they showcase night after night potential futures, that if you carry on thinking, feeling, and acting in the way you are right now, if you carry on with this perspective on life, this is where your future's heading. right?
Mm.
However, if you wake up and you feel horrible after a dream and you don't like how it made you feel, you have the amazing opportunity to change your thoughts, feelings, and actions so that you don't attract that future that the current mindset is drawing
Mm.
to you. And that is the value of dream work, of dream decoding, because it's like a red flag. It's
Mm.
signposting things you need to be aware of. It's saying slow down. It's saying think again. It's saying let go of that. Forgive yourself. Understand yourself better. And this is how you do it. Night after night, it's doing that. It really is like inner therapy. It is inner therapy because a lot of us, these days do go to therapy, and the therapist will actually encourage us to ask questions of ourselves
Mm-hmm.
rather than giving us an answer. And that's exactly what your dreams do for free. So I encourage people to step inside the dream and, if there's an object or a person or a symbol, to ask that object, person, or symbol questions. Why are you here? What are you trying to tell me?
Mm.
And it can spark the most incredible conversations with yourself or others if you do dream sharing, which is something I
Mm.
encourage as well, where you share
Wow, dream sharing, that's cool.
Well, I'd encourage everybody listening actually to, when they have the basics of dream decoding, which I share in all my books, it's relatively simple. It's learning the language of symbols. It's understanding your dreams are dramatizing your mindset, have potentially precognitive elements, and how to interpret them is to actually interpret someone else's dream for them. To say, well, if this dream happened to me, this is how I would interpret it. And the reason I encourage that is because automatically, when you're interpreting for someone else, you are going to go for the most positive, empowering.
Mm.
I do that because I do phone-ins all the time. That's
Okay.
you mentioned ITV this morning. I've done about 20 phone-ins, national
Okay.
phone-ins. Where people phone in with their dreams. They're on the line, and I sit there with the hosts, and we pick over their dreams, and I offer some hints and tips. And you will notice, if you followed me on my media journey, that I always give the most positive and empowering, because I believe your dreaming mind is your intuition, your nocturnal intuition, which only wants what is good for you. But sometimes it uses tough love to shock
Mm-hmm.
you into a realization.
Right.
It makes you feel uncomfortable because you have to feel uncomfortable to grow. And interpreting dreams for someone else in a positive way can really help your own dream decoding, because when we work on ourselves, we tend to be a bit more negative and a
Sure.
bit, nah, it's not going to work out, I'm not good enough, all these boring tapes which still circle in my head, all the time. But when you do it for someone else, your tendency is to want to help,
Mm-hmm.
and so apply that to yourself as well.
Wow,
If
that's really good
dream
insight.
interpretation drains you or diminishes you in any way, I say this time and time again, it is the incorrect interpretation. A dream correctly decoded will feel like a eureka moment of illumination, and it will raise you up, right? If
Okay.
it doesn't raise you up, your interpretation, you need to do what Jung said, the godfather of dream interpretation. You keep reflecting on it. Just
Mm.
keep on going. Eventually, illumination will come.
Okay.
But make sure it's one that raises you up and encourages you to do something and not get stuck in your head. That's another thing with dreams. They love you to take action in your waking life. And if you take action in your waking life in response to the dream, your dreaming mind loves you for it. And you might well
Right.
find some blissful dreams where you go on holiday in your dream, or you fly in space, or you meet famous people that you've longed for. Your dreaming mind will reward you if you take action in your waking life in response to the dreams that it's been sending.
Mm.
Your mind does that sometimes. It can
It
send you.
does. I can confirm. I've
Really,
literally had dinner with various famous people in my dreams after,
it's wonderful, isn't it?
yeah, I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. I don't even need to meet him in real life now.
You don't, because
It's
I'll
so
tell you what,
vivid.
unconsciously you've met them, and
Yeah.
basically your brain doesn't know the difference between what happens in the dream state and the waking. It takes everything literally, the brain does. And so if it's happened in the unconscious state, your brain thinks this is possible, this could happen. And
Yeah.
the power of that perspective. When you truly believe deep down unconsciously something is possible for you, that's when you start to attract it. That's
Yeah.
based
So actually, this is leading straight into the law of attraction and
yeah,
manifestation and things through dreams.
Yeah, I've been
So
talking about this for years. It frustrates me in a way because now suddenly everybody's like talking about dreams as a tool for manifesting. I have written about this extensively, that if you can dream it, forgive the Disney cliche, you can do it. Because if you're dreaming that something's possible, it means your unconscious is convinced.
yeah.
And that's the problem with waking techniques for manifesting, like, affirmations. We've all done the mirror thing. I am enough. I am enough. I laugh. I mean, but it's no point if you're lying to yourself, if deep down there's still that gremlin saying, I'm rubbish.
Yeah, totally.
Rubbish. And that's why dream work's so powerful for manifesting, because it goes, I'm going to quote Dune, the movie, messages from the deep, your deep.
Mm,
It goes to what you truly believe, but you're not maybe admitting to yourself in waking life. And that's
mm,
why a lot of people don't like dream work, because it gets very honest.
right.
And you have to brace yourself a bit. Hold on to your crystals. It's going to be a bumpy ride when you do dreams.
Hold on to your crystals. That is absolutely brilliant.
You
Luckily,
know
I've
what I
got some
mean?
really large ones.
I should say hold on to your amethyst or your moonstone, because they're the dream recall
Are
crystal.
they? They're the dream ones.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you have those next to your bed, will they enhance dreams, attract dreams? Do
If
they
you
do
believe
anything?
they will. I mean, I very much think these things are props. We've all watched Dumbo and his feather.
Yeah,
That's what they are, but there's power in that, and if it helps you, go for it. I mean,
yeah.
there are studies to suggest that crystals emit certain energies, and who am I? Who am I to say that they don't? But I actually think the power in actually all these tools we use, from tarot to crystals to astrology, the power's in
Mm,
you. And
mm,
if you believe something enough, you're going to start attracting it to you. And if crystals help you believe you're going to recall your dreams, they will come to you. Your
okay.
dream recall will be more vivid.
Yeah, that's amazing. So do yeah. So does actually having some sleep, which is some people's problem, isn't it? So
Oh, it is. But I hope that I'm a cure for insomnia. I hope this
yeah.
this episode cures everybody's insomnia, that they're listening and they can't wait to drift off to sleep.
I was going to
Um,
say that is the absolute antithesis. Excuse me. You are riveting.
No, but what I always joke and say, I want to cure insomnia, that everybody can't wait to go to sleep at night and dream,
Mm.
because it's so exciting.
It
And
is
I
so
don't
exciting. I think it's like going to the cinema inside my own head.
best Netflix ever. And I
The
remember
best.
I first had that revelation when I watched Wizard of Oz the first time as a child. I was going to bed saying, I want to be Dorothy. I want to go to Oz. And it was so exciting. And then if I did have dreams where I went to wonderful places, had wonderful interactions, talked with dragons, I had the most vivid dream life as a child. I still have a vivid dream life, but it's changed obviously with the pressures
Mm.
of adulthood, because dreams reflect your waking life. And I would wake up, I'd feel like, I want to go back there,
Yeah,
I want
exactly.
to
It's a
explore
portal. That's what I
that. Yeah,
used to think. I'm nipping out.
portal. Yeah, absolutely.
Gonna go out and nip out and have a little dream about and talk to some of my dead mates. That's what I do
Well,
sometimes.
afterlife dreams, there's a body of research about that. They are
Mm.
very healing,
Yeah,
for the
they
healing
are.
process. They're not negative experiences. A lot of people say, well, I wouldn't want to have a dream of my departed mother or partner or whoever they've lost, because when I woke up, I'd miss them more. You don't. What you
Mm-mm.
do is you wake up and realize death ends a life, not a relationship, and that
Mhm.
person is in here.
Yeah.
They're very, very healing. But I don't want anyone to panic if they haven't had an afterlife dream. I'm always very conscious that there are people listening who struggle with dream recall.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And
that's a big.
different periods of your life as well. So sometimes it just comes and then, I didn't dream, I think, for about 10 years and then it came
Uh,
back.
you did, you just weren't recalling it. I mean, the work's going on quietly on your behalf. I think your intuition is always your best friend, working away quietly and silently. But it may have gone away, and I cover this in some of my latest titles about dreams. It may have gone away because your work needed to be in the outside, the material world.
Mm.
Because maybe you were very in tune with the inner world, right? You knew that life is more than the material, but we're here on this earth for a reason. That maybe, and I find that a lot with spiritual people, that their lesson is actually to learn to be practical, to earn money,
Hmm.
to help in the practical ways,
Yeah.
right? And I notice that myself, if I get too deep into the spiritual, often my dream recall will sometimes vanish for a while, because it's like
Mm,
life saying, pay attention to those in your life right now, not those on the other side, that there are people here who need you.
mm,
And
yeah,
I certainly found that when I was raising my two children, that, because it was so busy, that sometimes I'd have lots of no recall. And looking back in hindsight now, I think it was my dreaming mind said, be there for your children. They need you right
yeah,
now,
yeah.
present,
Be present.
not meditating for 2 hours or going into a liminal state or floating in,
Or say that you're dealing with your process.
they want
No,
your physical presence.
they need
So I
you.
think
Yeah.
sometimes poor dream recall actually isn't negative. It's very
Okay.
positive. It's saying, look, you're okay. You're making progress with that half of your life. You need to focus on the other half.
Mm. Oh, you're just all good news, aren't you? Really, no matter what. If we talk about mind, body, and spirit, where would you say that dreams fall into?
Well, obviously soul, but also mind and also body. So
Okay.
there we are. But basically, they obviously soul, but actually, research shows that dream recall is a sign of a very active, healthy brain. So
Okay.
I think they have an impact on your holistic well-being as well. I
Mm-hmm.
say that waking up with dreams and gratitude on your mind is a sign you're truly alive, and
Okay.
and firing on all cylinders, creative, creatively, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, everything's on alive and vibrant. Again, please don't panic though if dream recall is poor, because it happens. It happens
Yeah.
to us all. Life is ebbs and flows. And when you're going through a period of what I call dream overcrowding, where dream recall is really vivid, just celebrate it. Write those dreams down, because when
Mm.
you go through the inevitable dip again, when they stop, you can go back to those dreams and decode them properly. Because just because you've had a dream a year ago doesn't mean to say it's not relevant. It still is. You can always go back to your dreams. And I've found, because I've kept a dream journal since childhood, that going back to my childhood dreams,
Wow.
yeah, since about the age of 10, I think, because my family, that's what we were encouraged to dream journal. It was regarded as self-help tool. And I actually would love,
Cool.
like, something I would love to do, and I need to stop talking about it and doing it, is enrichment programs in schools to help children decode their dreams, because it's alarming that young people today, I think the Resolution Foundation this week published a survey, are more unhappy than ever. That
Mm.
the old definition of success, ticking all these boxes in life, is not working anymore.
No.
Getting a ladder. And I think just having some basic dream decoding very early in life to help them not be afraid of their shadow, not to be afraid of
Mm.
their intuition and creativity, but to celebrate it, understand it, and begin that inside out journey that we've all got to do, rather than starting life as the majority of children do, outside in. And that's what happens. And then when they realize that the outside, however successful they are, and I've had so many successful entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, reaching out to me. Even this week, I had one that earned 30 million in her first year founding a lash bar, but walked away from it because it was
Wow.
empty. I went on Sean Mike Kelly's Digital Social Hour podcast. He's the Jersey Champs entrepreneur. And he actually reached out to me to get me to talk about dreams on his podcast, because he said, I heard him saying in an interview that after he'd earned the first million, because it was like, I'm not happy. It hasn't given me the wholeness that I
Mm.
want. Now, people who are struggling and trying to get by will think, come on, dream on,
Yeah.
dream. What are you talking about? 10 million in the bank would certainly, give me a spring in my step. And yes, it would. But just look outside in the media of people who have everything we think we need to be happy: the relationship, the popularity, the talent. Some of these people are
Yeah.
huge talent, money in the bank, screaming fans everywhere. And they are so tortured because
Yeah.
from an early age, it was all outside in.
Yeah.
And I think if you get the inner work done, focus on your dreams, your intuition, understanding yourself, and that this material life is a bit of an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that, the rest is just going to fall into place, because you're coming from that inner strength. Your inner kingdom is solid, and nobody can take that away from you. And when you've got that, you are unstoppable. I feel like I should burst into song at this stage.
You are unstoppable. I'll help. I don't know if that will help.
That can make you unstoppable because it shows you that that inner world, the journey within, is the hero's journey. It is the adventure that we think is out there. And I guess that's spiritual awakening, isn't it? When you realize it's never going to be out there.
Yeah,
But I
for
think it's
sure.
finding it within and then going back outside, but with a new perspective. And that's when the magic really happens, when you are able to make shifts in the world around you, because you're doing it with an inner core that is so strong.
That's a really
So
good point.
basically, people listening, stop trying to change the world, change yourself first. Pay attention to your dreams, your intuition, your own self-growth. Get that underway, and then you can move out to changing the world for the better. And the thing is, when one person starts working on themselves from the inside out and gets it, the outside in isn't going to work. Somehow it inspires others to do the same. And
The
that's why
ripple effect, yeah,
that's why
definitely.
the festival, I love supporting Olympia, because you've got people coming there who are awakening to this.
Yeah.
And I think there's collective energy in people gathering together to raise the vibration, and their vibrations will ripple out, because we are all interconnected. We know that.
And people at the festival can actually come and see you on Sunday the 26th at 12:30. Your workshop is the Dream Cure. How
It
to
is.
decode your dreams and heal your life. That's bloody
Yes.
brilliant.
It's going to be high energy.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm aware that, that it costs money to go to Olympia. Proceeds from my workshop, actually, I'm going to be donating to the charity that Olympia has, because that's not the reason I'm doing it. I'm doing it to empower people to fall in love with their dreams. But if you don't want to attend the workshop, which is an hour and a half, and it will be pretty intense, I'm warning you, there is a free talk where I try and give as much as I can in the time I'm allotted on the main stage. So come along to that, and then
Okay.
see how you feel about the workshop. But there'll be plenty of
Lovely.
treats and surprises along the way. I try to do that because I try to actually be like the dream, because dreams always surprise. They love surprising you, and tell you things about yourself you don't already know. They're not interested in going over old ground and repeating old records that you've told yourself. Dreams always want to get you spiraling upwards. And
Right.
I hope, I really hope that whoever comes along, that they go away, as I say, with a spring in their step and an inner smile.
I'm sure they will, with your spiraling glory.
Just stop it now. You're making me laugh. And I actually love this, because I'm so
You're
glad
allowed to
you're
have a
doing
laugh.
this. Because one of the things is, because I've been doing this all my life. So you can imagine, I've been to, if there's a workshop, I've been to it. If there's a retreat, I've been to it. And one of the weaknesses of it, I hate to use that term weaknesses, because weaknesses can be transformed to strength, is the seriousness of it all.
Yeah.
And laughter, I think, is the sign of a spiritually awakened person, because you do,
Thank
if it's not
God.
going to bring you joy, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be hard work. It shouldn't be complicated. You shouldn't have to learn all these difficult techniques. You shouldn't have to keep to a rota and tick boxes. You shouldn't have to, who's got time to meditate for 2 hours?
Well,
I'm
probably
sorry,
probably people.
this is my opinion. Typically men, actually. I'm going to be, oh gosh, I'm going to get so much criticism. But it's often, I have men on my podcast and they're saying, yes, every morning, 2 hours. And I'm thinking, well, who's doing all the other
You're not
stuff?
washing up or doing your clothes, are you? I bet your underpants are rank.
Usually there's a supportive person in the background who is facilitating their
Who has a
inner
womb?
growth. And that's not how it should be. Spirituality should vibe with your life and be very effortless, minimal time commitment, and should bring you joy. And if your training or whatever you're doing, the teacher or guide you're following, or the program or path is not making you happy, rethink it from the start to the end. It's got to bring you. Sometimes it will be difficult and challenging, there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's not exciting, maybe the word not joy is exciting, that you're excited about the next step.
Yeah.
And I hope dream work can do that, because also it's something that everybody can do. It's very accessible. It doesn't have.
What's the, I would say, three most common dreams that people have that they want decoding?
What I love is there is a dreams chart. It's like, like I was in the days of Told the Pops. At number 10, we have. And it's sort of updated every year, and it's hysterical. They do it globally. But usually the top 10 dreams are very, very similar. And number one, typically, although it can change, is always flying and
Yeah.
falling. Falling,
Yeah.
typically. And falling is a symbol of, obviously, look at the symbolism. If there was a poem about somebody falling, what would be the deeper meaning of that poem? It's feeling unsupported. It's feeling you've got nothing to hold on to, right? It's not feeling grounded. So look at the symbolism of that. And no surprise, during the pandemic lockdowns and the COVID crisis, falling dreams were ranking number one, because we all felt
Wow.
like we hadn't a clue what was happening. It was chaotic. And the message of that dream is to, maybe in the daydream state, go back to that falling image and start flying. Start seeing falling as a opportunity to grow your own wings, and to start looking for other systems and other people to tell you what to do, and to rely on your own inner strength. But also pay attention to the emotion when you're falling in a dream, because the language of dreams is symbols, but it's also emotion. And if you're feeling quite content falling, that means just go with the flow. Stop
Yes.
panicking when you fall. Just go, you're just fine. Just go with the flow. Stop battling upstream. Just go with the flow. There's always a positive interpretation, you see, to the dreams, but the best person to do that is always, I mean, my publishers hate me when I say this, but the best dream book you ever write is your own dream journal. The personal interpretation is key. What my
Okay.
dream books do is help kickstart symbolic thinking, because I give the common and universal interpretations. But of course,
Okay.
your personal interpretation must come first.
Okay.
And I give the obvious example: if you dream of dogs and you love dogs, it's loyalty, unconditional love. Maybe giving yourself more self-care and that excitement that dogs give you, and that companionship. But if you hate dogs or fear them, it's going to have a very, very different interpretation. If a dog is in your dream, it's going to be, you know, um, external forces attacking you. It's going to be fear. It's going to be anxiety. So first of all, go for your own personal association. If nothing comes, then it's time to look at the universal archetypal meanings.
Okay.
Number one, personal association.
And this is something that I've just wanted to take out of these questions. Do you think they're good for healing trauma, like trauma release,
Oh, yeah.
for processing?
I'm going to reference another fellow Brit dreamer. I love it because sometimes we battle for number one on with our dream books, but he's absolutely incredible guy. Charlie Morley, lucid dreaming workshops that he does. He has a innate understanding about lucid dreaming, and he worked with a team of scientists that I also work with at the Institute of Noetic Sciences. I've collaborated with them on books and other things to do a study of veterans who were suffering from PTSD. And he taught them lucid dreaming techniques. And I think in almost all cases, or certainly over 90%, lucid dreaming techniques where they could go into the dream state, know they're dreaming when they're dreaming, because there's specific techniques to actually heal the nightmares they were having and the panic, and to re-script their trauma. And it was published in scientific and medical journals, that lucid dreaming could be a very, very powerful tool to heal deep-seated trauma that is too difficult to deal with when you're awake and conscious. So yes, it certainly can be used for that.
Yeah.
But if it is something really deep-seated and traumatic, I would always advise people do it alongside a therapist, a trained counsellor, or their
Yeah.
GP's advice.
Yeah.
I mean, the dream
Perfect.
decoding it's more sort of your everyday traumas, mini traumas, as you say, not the like really harrowing deep ones.
Okay.
Dream work can certainly help there, but I would advise doing it alongside a trained dream therapist, GP,
Yeah.
doctor.
Yeah, very important. I'm glad that that's very practical as well, because often in
Yeah.
this world we can go into, like we mentioned before, crystals. It's like,
Yes.
they're nice and they're helpful, but we do need practical 3D help as well with the actual psychological mind in order
Oh,
to
of
keep us
course we
safe.
do. You
So
can't do
yeah.
it all yourself. I mean, I'm very much about empowering your inner psychic. That's one of the titles of one of my recent books. I'm very much about empowering your inner psychic in
Yeah.
the majority of stuff, but sometimes people can't do that. You say, well, help yourself first. Sometimes people are so low, whether it be through addiction or through harrowing life events, that they simply don't know how to do that. They
Mhm.
need a helping hand. And if you look at all, fairy stories and mythological creatures and stories and legends, there's always a mentor and a guide along the way, someone who can be a light for you in dark places. We do need that sometimes. I'm not
Yeah.
obliterating the need for, practical help from psychology, science, medicine, therapy, but again, it depends on the personal circumstances. As I say, when I do dream decoding, I'm speaking to the everyday
Hmm.
life, people just wanting to get through their life to feel a bit happier. Uh,
Yeah.
Deep level trauma. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, and I'm the first, or a psychologist. Um, so please go and get help and support there.
Yeah. In extreme, but for more everyday stuff, we can
Oh,
read your books
right.
and come to Mind Body Spirit workshop with you.
Grab a crystal.
Yeah, grab a crystal, have a word with it, have a little conflab. Um, what's your favourite book that you've written?
Oh, I would have to say, gosh, I don't know. It's like choosing between your children, isn't it? Because every book, like, I feel like disloyal to the other ones saying that. But I guess I'm going to say the one really. There's that scene in Bridget Jones where somebody leans over to one of the characters. Were you that? And he goes, yes, that was me. Because he's like one song that he did in the 80s or something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for me, a lot of the reason I can write so many books, and I'm in the privileged position, is I had this book, The Dream Dictionary from A to Z, which was first published in 2004, and has been reissued ever since, and it's become kind of a classic. That's the one that supermodel Bella Hadid actually posted on her Instagram. So that's the one that I'm most known for and is stocked most widely and has sold so well and has given me the opportunity to do all the other things, because there are many
Mm.
Theresa Cheung books out there. I tell my readers to go out there and fail again. Believe me, in the publishing world, I have failed and failed again by books. But it's wonderful that because of the Dream Dictionary, I can come back and
That's amazing.
I have other successes along the way. But second to that, I think empower your inner psychic, because in that one, it was published last year actually. Um, did very well here in the UK. It's where I gather all the research and collaboration I've done with scientists and neuroscientists in this field,
Yes.
and I put it all in that book. Um,
Great.
and I feel that bringing in the science is important.
Me
Because
too.
up until about 10 years ago, I was very much, this is a matter of belief and personal experience, but that wasn't enough. So I reached out to scientists and neuroscientists researching consciousness. And so I put it in that book, but also offer a really practical program to get in touch with your intuition and your dreaming mind based on the conversations and collaborations I've done with scientists. And footnote, when I make a point in Empower Your Inner Psychic, I footnote an episode of my podcast or a book I've written where I've worked with the person I'm talking
Hmm.
about the book and the study I'm talking about. So I'm proud of that one.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And do you think that it's because of things like working with science alongside personal faith in these things that it's become more mainstream? It's made it more tangible for people.
It is incredible that scientists are now actively researching the world of the invisible and unseen and
Hmm.
mysterious supernormal experiences, because they realize that people are having these experiences and they need to be researched as the data they are, and not just that's hallucination, that's imagination. And I think near-death experience research certainly contributed towards that as well. So many people being brought back from the brink because of advances in resuscitation techniques, coming back to share their tales that they couldn't have done 20, 30 years ago. That has created a shift too.
Yeah. And it has become so much more mainstream. People will talk in the pub about their dreams,
Ghosts and
nowadays.
hauntings and all these mysterious experiences.
Yeah.
And sensing things, and my gut told me, or I had a dream and then I met that person the next day. These are everyday conversations, and I love the fact that they are the norm and not the exception anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It is absolutely amazing. During your workshop, will you be not only talking about dream decoding, but also a little bit about manifestation? Is that also going to be covered in the workshop, just so that people
Oh
know?
yes, you can't not these days. It's such a buzzword, isn't it? But the thing
It
is,
really is.
it makes me laugh because it has been around for centuries. And as I
Of
said,
course.
I mean, we've all read The Power of Positive Thinking. Well, I certainly did. These were all seminal texts. The Secret as well, but it's been invented now as manifesting. But I will try and clear up so many misunderstandings about manifesting. So many
Okay.
people have a very, very sort of like blinkered view of it, or an inaccurate, and it has contributed to this cult of toxic positivity, which is
Yes,
just as damaging to our
that's true.
well-being as being
Yeah.
negative. I mean, I don't know if I'd rather you be a glass half empty person than be toxic positive. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely would rather be half empty.
Because
Definitely. And
pessimism, actually, there's
but
research.
grateful.
Pessimism.
Grateful for the half.
The pessimism, actually, there's plenty of research I could talk about that shows actually that people who are very realist and pessimist, they actually do have success as well. Because
My dad's one of them, mate.
it won't work. I'm not just say no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just he's a builder, and he's like, all this
Oh,
stuff you lot do, all about the spiritual. I say, you lot just want to get a bloody job. You want to get a bloody job. I'm out here in January, things freezing to my hands. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right, Dad.
you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
they bring a down-to-earthness and a gravitas and a realism, which is just as important for fulfilling happy life.
It is. It
It
definitely
really
is.
is. We need these sort of the earth types who just tell it like it is. And I have this, I know many people, it's just say no. And I've got this idea for this, and they're just like,
No. What I would do.
I know, but I mean, we
That's
need.
from my father's side. Just want to let you know that was genetic.
Yeah. How does he deal with you?
We actually get on like a house on
When
fire.
he talks about this, well, what does your daughter do? What does he say?
He says, "Well, she's a yoga teacher and a bit mental." And he's not wrong. I'm here for it. It's an accurate description. I'll take that half glass full with gratitude. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, but actually, deep down, they are actually quite really loving and kind people often.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
He's very practical and 3D and massive heart.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think that's the new workshop. Empty workshop.
we'll get Paul Cox in. No worries. He's got this. God bless him. God bless him. I'm just going to have a little look and see if we've got any more questions. But oh crikey, I think we've gone over and beyond. We've gone over and beyond, Theresa. Not shocking.
I hope that it's encouraged people to at least come to the free talk, and certainly come to the festival. Where if you don't like what I'm saying, you're going to find someone that you do like what they're saying, and it will resonate. That's the beauty of the festival, isn't it? There's so many different voices and different approaches,
and everyone is so nice.
Yes, you are there. It's welcoming.
It's super welcoming,
and there's a warmth to it, and also that lovely smell when you come in. I don't know what it is. It's like they're all burning incense and all sorts of things, and it's like you're hit by this lovely uplifting smell because I sent
get a schnozzle full of sage. That's what I would say. Come and get your nose filled up with Palo Santo music and love.
What I hope is that people, when they come, is that they have something moving forward they take away, something that they
Mm.
can research, some group they can join, and some new tool.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly hope that with what I'm doing, that people will go away feeling really empowered to interpret their dreams and reflect on their precious life
Mm.
in a way that's going to uplift them.
Mm. I'm sure they will, especially if they come and hang out with you. And I think Roz has asked, what powerful techniques can we use right away to enhance dream recall? Give us one or two like teasers, not full ones, because we have to come to the workshop for that. But just yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, I've devoted my life to this, so you're going to have decades of stuff. There's so much that and it will all based on research as well. So what I say isn't just plucked out of thin air. I do want to stress that I do work with scientists researching dreams, etc. But I'm going to say something. Just listening to this podcast is going to enhance your dream recall because you're thinking about dreams during the day, and what you think about and reflect on in the day will show up in some way in your dreams. So if you dream of of something really awful tonight,
Like my dad
like a
telling you off.
spider, that's because of this conversation. So you can thank us for that we've triggered something. Where your attention goes is what your dreams are going to focus on. So just spending this hour or so thinking, oh, do I dream? Do dreams mean anything? Is this woman nuts? Should I go? Shouldn't I go? Do dreams matter? Isn't,
You should go. Dreams do matter. I'll answer the questions.
any question you ask about right now about dreams and their power
Mm.
will trigger something. Hopefully you'll wake up with stunning dream recall tomorrow morning or the day after. Write them
Mm.
down, please.
Write them down.
Don't, and also do not do this thing which I've done so many times, because you wake up in the night and think, oh, that was a brilliant story. I'll remember it in the morning, because you just can't be bothered. You will not remember. And there's
No.
nothing worse. It's like having something on the tip of your tongue when you can't just get it back.
Yeah.
Dreams are too subtle. Remember, they come from a different country, a different state of consciousness. It's subtle there. It's gentle. It can't break through into waking reality. Logic and reason and just slam the door shut.
Right.
So write them down as soon as they flutter to the surface. You're going to forget them. And that's the same in your waking life when you have an intuitive hunch or a creative idea. Please write it down or speak in a voice recorder.
So, in synopsis, thinking and believing in dreams is one way to enhance your dream recall, and the other one is to write them down as they come in waking life and sleeping.
Because you will forget.
Yeah, sure.
You will forget. So there's plenty more hints and tips that I can give that I hope will create a shift for you. But you have to come to the festival to find out.
Yes, they will. I'll be there. I will be seeing
What
you.
are you doing a talk?
Yeah.
I hope you're on. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm doing spiritual stand-up comedy, and
I don't know if there's anyone like that.
no, I think I kind of I actually literally dreamt it up, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
When?
And 3 years ago. And
I mean, there's so much to laugh about, isn't there, in the spiritual world?
there really is.
Have you ever been to a retreat? I mean, I know. I mean, I guess, what is it? Well, that program, was it Blue Lotus, or what is it on?
I don't know.
It was about people going to a retreat. I can't remember the title of it. Something Lotus in the title.
Was it a series or a movie?
It was a series.
I can remember something about it, but I never watched the full thing.
Humor as well. I mean, it is, oh, I'm so glad you're doing that. As I said, I've been championing the role of laughter. We need to. If you can't laugh at yourself,
well, exactly. If it's good enough for the Dalai Lama, it's good enough for me.
He has a twinkle in his eye. Anyone who's met him said the first thing they see is laughter.
Desmond Tutu and him together. What an absolute pair.
Yeah. And that's Mark. Also, when I've had the privilege of meeting monks in Buddhist monasteries, who they are the joy.
Yeah, they are, exactly, and that's what I struggle with in what we see as the predominantly white appropriated spiritual world. Is I spend a lot of time in Asia, and I'm really lucky to have spent so much time in Asia. I've even met Desmond Tutu back in the day. Yeah, I had a cuddle with Desmond Tutu,
Oh,
and he was just
no,
so jolly.
no airs and graces, no,
No, and
you
that's
know.
why when I started to become a yoga teacher and all that, when Dad said, "Oh yeah, she's gone off to be one of them weird wafters, yeah, just wafting about, like talking about
You
chakras."
sound that weird wafting. I love that. Weird
Waft,
wafting.
I mean, that is what we do around. So
Universe, the universe.
yeah, oh, I know, it's all we bang on about. But yeah, he was just so
Watching Married at
jolly.
First Sight the other day, UK, they were doing a clip of this guy who was like, people there. He was a meditation teacher, and he was saying to the girl that I will never love you more than the universe, or something like that. And her face was like she just didn't get it. It was just very unintentionally funny. You know,
Awkward.
nobody competes to the universe. I mean, that kind of talk is so nutty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just lots of cognitive dissonance, denial, delusion, and
Yes,
toxic positivity, which is all
yes.
of my forte now.
Sorry. Sorry, but
Ah.
I can assure you, this is just how I talk, and people know me that I do see the humour in what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes
thank
when I've had
goodness.
call-ins and people are coming up with these crazy dream scenarios, my first instinct is, oh please, this is your dreaming mind wanting you to lighten up.
Right.
Sometimes I think our dreaming mind has a great sense of humour.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
It
Totally.
humbles us,
It definitely humbles us. Yeah.
and it wants
Reminds
us to
you.
laugh. It wants us to laugh a little bit. You know,
Well, that's
you
good
know.
news. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Theresa. It's been an absolute pleasure. I absolutely adore you, and I can't wait to see you at Mind Body Spirit.
Thank you. When are you on, by the way? What day
I
are you
think
on?
I'm on. I'm doing a panel talk on Friday of how spirituality's become mainstream, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. A main stage on Friday.
Oh, can you tell me? I suppose that will give it away. Is it a good or a bad thing?
Well, I mean, we've
Well,
already touched on the subject of appropriation, which I think is the negative aspect of it. But of course, anything becoming mainstream that helps people, in a very brief synopsis, is obviously great, isn't it? I mean, the more
yeah.
accessible.
So you don't need to go to that on Friday, everyone.
Done. Don't go and listen to all the other people with the great minds. I'm only hosting it. It's not really my opinion that matters. So yeah, it's just an and we get the audience involved. I like to some
Is it going to be a
participation.
different vibe? I mean, this year it seems like there's a different. It's like the festival. It's like going next level, isn't it? It feels
It
like.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some injection of love and of energy, and I think we've all had a really good talk, and Josh and Roz are absolutely amazing, and then the people who hold the spaces like Kwali Kamara holds the ceremony space, and when you have those individuals holding those spaces, it really ups the ante, and the vibe is
Yeah.
what I like to call next level.
Next level.
Next level vibes, babes. Something my dad would love hearing coming out my mouth.
Is he coming?
No, but he has been on one of my yoga retreats before, and that was hilarious because he's rebranded Yoga Nidra Yoga Ninja by accident.
Well, it
This
is.
is Yoga Ninja. It's just a bloody sleep, isn't it? Yes, Dad. If that's what you want it to be, darling, that's what it is.
I actually find that funny when I have been on retreats. And you always hit somebody always nods off, and when it's the instructor that does, that's the funniest.
Oh wow,
Yes.
never heard of that.
Oh, I have. There were two of them once, and I went to one thing, and I just.
Whoa, that's brilliant. I'm just catching up with my dream state. Actually, I was just channeling for us all, so probably don't be so judgmental.
All you're going to do at my workshop is there nice cushions there. We're going to have an hour and a half, Kim.
I am there. I bloody love a sleep meter, Ada, I tell you. Good. Well, on that glorious note, I think I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much, Theresa.
You
It's
are a
absolutely...
joy. It's been an absolute joy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really loved talking to you. Thank you, Rash, for all you are and do. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. Right back at you. Big heartsies and loads of love. Look at the little hearts that
way
come
too
out.
trendy for me.
No, look at the hearts that come out. Hold on. The something it's there. See coming out of my face.
Mine's not. It's because
Hold it still over your face.
Oh, I'm rubbish at these things.
None of that talk, young lady. Brilliant. Well, I love you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Mwah.
Thank you so much, Rose.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Mind Body Spirit Festival podcast. We would love to connect with you in real person at one of our epic events. Go to mindbodyspiritfestival.co.uk for tickets and information. I will see you there. Don't forget you can also follow us on Instagram, MBS Wellbeing, for behind the scenes content, updates and offers. Stay cosmic, you beautiful soul.